promised you guys that I would bring you in on a new discovery. This is probably the most groundbreaking discovery made in the 21st century. It's called the Sobriety Iceberg. All right, I'm going to go through and explain it in very simple terms. So here's the iceberg. All this is above water. You're fine. Anything below here, it's not that great. All right. So at the bottom here is rock bottom. That's the delineator between good and bad. So up here, soberish, that's the best you can be. Soberish, that's basically your Jesus Christ, because you're not like completely like, because you're not here. 100% sobriety, you don't want to be there. That means like you don't drink, you're no fun, you're basically straight edge. Nobody wants to hang with that guy. That guy is no fun. All right. A little bit above that though, drinking with the boys, because even Jesus did this. He had his disciples. And then on the Last Supper, him and his boys, they broke bread and they drank some wine. So at the end of the day, that's fine. So soberish is where you want to be. You can drink sometimes and you're classy about it, but you also know how to have a good time and stop drinking. Okay. Day drinking, that's still pretty good. You can drink during the day. You can have a few brewskis and still hang out with your family and be productive. You're not quite a problem yet. 3-day bender. We're getting closer to being a problem, okay? You spent 3 days getting messed up. It's been Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sunday evening, you're trying to recover, get ready back for Monday. You might start having a problem. Here, being called an alcoholic, this is a very important thing. People start to label you as something, an alcoholic, a guy with a problem, someone who clearly needs to go and get some real help. That doesn't mean that's you, but that just means that that's what they're calling you right now, an alcoholic. It doesn't mean that they're right, though. That's what they start to call you. All right, rock bottom right here, simultaneously kind of co-aligns with getting a DUI, usually. That's usually when it's kind of cut up to you. Your luck's starting to run out a little bit, and you might need to think about readjusting your entire life. This is what most people think is the worst part of, alcoholism. You're wrong. It gets much worse. Let's go down a step, all right? Rehab. Usually you're going to go to rehab after you have these quote unquote bad dealings with the law. People start to think like, this is something that might need to happen. You go to rehab. It's all right, but it's not as bad as AA meetings, because the meetings you go to are even worse. Because the rehab, they coddle you, do all this stuff. Then you go to the meetings and you find out, oh, these people are even worse than me. And then you think you're fine. But not quite, because then you have a family intervention. Your family comes in. They start finding out about stuff. Cousin Joey, Uncle Tom, everybody like that. They start finding out, oh, now he's got a problem. He needs to help. And then a lot of things get said. Some things kind of messed up, but they're trying to help you and get better, but really just trying to say all the things I wanted to say about you for a long time. All right, this part, getting 86 from your favorite bar. I don't know if you guys have the terminology where you're from. 86, that basically means you're banned. When you get banned from your favorite bar, it's getting pretty low, because that means even the people that raised you and grew up to be the sparkling, shining example of what an alcoholic is start to kick you out. You start to feel rejected, and that's when you get lower. Rehab part 2, because you think you can change this time. You're like, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to rehab. This time it'll be different. I'm going to get better. I'm going to do way better this time. And that's not quite. But then, so you come back out of rehab part 2 and you overdose. You overdose because you tried to change, and then unfortunately you couldn't change. Then you came back, tried to do some dosage, and all of a sudden your body wasn't ready for that. So you overdose, which leads you to giving head to a cave troll. This is probably the lowest point, but not quite the lowest point in this point. You're doing things that you thought you'd never do. You're selling things, parts of your body that you think you're never going to get back, and you may never get those parts back. But it's part of the journey, And then losing your drinking buddy. I know that's at the bottom. You might be like, that doesn't make any sense. But you lose the one person that used to drink with you, and now it's just you by yourself drinking. That's one of the worst, loneliest feelings. And then we eventually get here, the new rock bottom. This is where I'm at right here, all right? This is the lowest of low points. It doesn't get much lower than this. So the good news about the new rock bottom is that the only way to go is up. Unfortunately, it's not on the chart here, but there's actually a trap door right here, and it opens up to a newer rock bottom. And that's where you could end up at if you don't, turn around and get back to being soberish. Be a productive member of society. Those are the words for the day. Thank you.